here if you check it, I'm going to ncpa.cpl in my system only. Can you see this is a vmnet2? So I open vmnet2 details. Can you see dhcp enable no and ip address and subnet mask? Okay, so some ip address it got it, subnet mask I got it. Okay, because it is resetted from the previous settings. That's it. Okay, so I dhcp no. So one second. Hey, why is again slow? Yesterday only I done update and all kind of stuff. Okay, if you go to details, dhcp no, dhcp enable no means manual. dhcp enable yes means dhcp client. That's it. Go to the properties. I am changing this IPv4 into obtain automatically. Okay, it is a manual one, so I'm changing to DHCP mode. I will get IP address, normal IP address. Okay, and close. Then again open details. I got IP address. DHCP enabled yes. I got IP address 172.16.0.106. Actually, yesterday my client PC got this IP address. Now this adapter is getting that IP address because VMnet2 I connected to my server. That's why this VMnet2 also getting IP address from the server. See, this is my server IP address, right? Okay. So I got my client IP address yesterday because I removed it. I reserved some 123. That's why it become free. So I got this IP address now. Okay. I got like this. Next. So this is proper IP address. Next, this is my Wi-Fi details. DHCP enabled. I got some IP address. This is 192 from my router. I'm getting IP address. Look at this IP address. It's clean, right? This is again DHCP enabled. No, means it's a static IP. I'm converting into DHCP dynamic. Go to IPv4 properties. So I'm selecting obtain IP address automatically in both side. Apply, close. Okay. It will take time. It got an IP. Sorry. Then one second. Because it is giving IP address. I said no. This problem will occur always. So you can go to and select this one. So you won't get a DHCP directly. Play okay. Unselect this one. We don't require IP from VMware. We can manage it on our own. Okay. So I remove the service. and still it is showing IP address. No problem, just I will disable it and enable it. Just wait, it will come. It is, yeah, it is giving confusion. Details. Can you see this output? DHCP enabled S, and it is showing auto configuration IPv4 address. Auto configuration IPv4 address 169.254.87.104. So whatever it is, see the first two things. 169.254, 169.254. That meaning is it's not a correct IP address. Okay, so it is not in a normal range. Like, see this one. This is I am getting from DHCP server. If you see DHCP enabled, DHCP server address, and I am getting an IP address. And if you look at the IP address, you'll understand it is a proper IP address and all. And if you look at this is 192 series. Okay, DHCP enabled, yes, DHCP server. Yeah, that is one question. How do you know what is your DHCP server? Here it is mentioned. How do you know what is your DNS server? Here it is mentioned. Remember this, guys. Last time one of our sir asked our candidates, how do you know where is a DHCP server? Here it is mentioned. This is a DHCP server IP address. Physically, leave it about physically. That's we can see physically where it is located. But address, by address we know, right, logically. So this is a DHCP server. This is a DNS server. This is your router address. If everything is same means your default gateway DHCP server is same. Your default gateway DHCP server is same. Means your router is act like a DHCP server. Your router is act like a DHCP server. If both are different, means the router is different, DHCP server is different. Okay. So I stop DHCP VMware DHCP part. So I'm getting a IP address. If you look at this one, auto configuration IPv4 169.254. But if you see here, it's showing a IP address only, IPv4 address only, not auto configuration. So what is this auto configuration? That is important. That is called apipa, automatic private IP address. What it is? Automatic private IP address. apipa, automatic private IP address. The range of IP address is 169.254.0 dot starting with 1, actually 0.0, actually 0.0, 169, total is that one, like this. This is the total range of apipa address. So it start giving IP from 169.254.0.1. So starting IP, and ending IP is 169.254.255.254. Sometimes if you tell this one, people won't agree. They will ask for a valid range. So this is the valid range. Then after one, after this one, starting before this one, middle one. Okay, this is the valid range of apipa address, IP address wise only. But this IP, the first two portions are constant. First two portions are constant. So then we can recognize that is apipa address. That is apipa address. And next two portions are random. Next two portions are random. Okay, this is common in all apipa address, and this thing can be any. Okay, so this is decided by your MAC address only. It's decided by your MAC address. Based on your MAC address, it's generating generally. But apipa is invalid. Automatic private IP address is not valid in a network. Not valid in a network. Okay. So when you got an apipa address, you can't communicate it to anyone. You can't communicate to anyone. Who will give this IP address? Okay. Apipa is actually generated by generated by okay. Apipa is generated by its own PC only, its own device. You can say device actually. So I put a PC. Okay. So my PC, my adapter is generating that IP address based on MAC address. Okay. Based on its MAC address, the adapter MAC address. Okay. So based on the its MAC address, based on the adapter MAC address. So apipa is generated by its own PC, means my PC is generating that one, and based on its adapter MAC address only. Okay, it is not valid. We can't communicate using a apipa address in a IPv4 mainly, so we can't communicate. And why getting apipa? Why we are getting apipa? So try to understand why we are getting an apipa is if PC failed to get IP from Dhcp server. Okay, it is failed to get the server. It configures. It configure means PC configures its own IP address. That is apipa, automatic private IP address. Apipa in the range of 169.254. This is a very good, interesting question. For any position, after 5 years also, they might ask like you are in a networking related thing. If you are not in that one position also, they generally ask one question is apipa address. Okay, a lot of people get selected in my previous company and all. Most of people get selected by apipa address only, because apipa covers so many things, because it's a troubleshooting related one. Okay, see, uh, no. There can be any reason. Carefully understand. Okay, so this is my DHCP server and this is my DHCP client. When it is become client, when I put a obtain IP address automatically. Okay, of course. There can be like lot of issues are there. One is maybe your DHCP server is disconnected. This is server and this is the client. Okay, this is DHCP server, this is a DHCP client. Okay, maybe DHCP server is disconnected, maybe you are disconnected. Okay, so first reason is either DHCP server or a client. So anyway you can't communicate it to server, right? So in that cases you may get a apipa address. Okay, you may get a apipa. How you will get a apipa address? You may disconnected from the DHCP server or you cannot reach the DHCP server. In the cases, you will get a apipa address. Understand, guys? Second, DHCP server is down. The entire machine is down. So you won't get a DHCP address. So you will get a apipa. What is the second reason? Maybe DHCP server is down. So you are not getting IP from DHCP server. Maybe the DHCP service is down. Only service is down. DHCP service is down. You may get a apipa. Okay. Another one is the pool is finished. I put a pool 101 to 150. I put a pool 101 to 150. But 150 completed. You are the new PC. DHCP given all IP address to everyone. All IP address to everyone. There is no IP address available. IP address. Now I am not talking about exceptions. I am talking about all available addresses are finished. All available addresses are finished. Okay. Now you connected a new PC. So no IP address is available. No IP address available in a DHCP. That is called pool. Pool of IP addresses we call it as. Okay. No IP address is available. Then also you will get apipa. So you send a request to DHCP. DHCP don't have an IP address. Available IP address is not there. Then what it will do? It cannot give you IP address. And what our PC will do? It will configure its own IP address. That is called apipa. Okay. So this is apipa address. So what are the scenarios we are getting here? So the possible why we are getting an IP address. The first point is hmm, possibility DHCP server disconnected from network or you are unable to reach DHCP server. Second, DHCP server you are unable to reach it. And second one, server down. Both are meaning is same actually. Server down. So then we can give DHCP service is down. So because of some reason. Okay. Or DHCP pool. Pool means range. IP address range. Completed. Not available. Completed. Or no free IP address. This meaning is no free IP address available. Okay. So in these cases, you will get a apipa address. Okay. Now, if you got apipa address, what you will do? Either you should assign IP address manually. Okay. The first one is so what to do? So what to do now? Either okay, assign IP address manually. If you know the current network thing. Okay. So if you know the current network, what is the network is going on, then you can assign IP address manually. That is normal one. But if you don't know what IP network we are using, that is a problem. Okay. So you have to start troubleshooting. Okay. What to do? Start troubleshoot. What happened to me today? I will occasionally do mistakes, but yeah, it is correct. RO bullshit. Troubleshooting. Okay. What is the troubleshooting thing? So first of all, verify network connection. Verify the network connection. Client connection. Server is connected or not. DHCP is server is on or not. DHCP server is on or not. The service is running or not. The service is running or not. The pool of IP addresses available or as per the IP address allocation is really available, or maybe you have to restart the service. Maybe you have to restart the services. Okay, so like that we have to troubleshoot it. First, we have to troubleshoot at server and client level. Check network connections. Check the network connections at both server and client end. Okay, check DHCP server on off condition. Okay, on or off, whether it is okay. Check DHCP server and check the DHCP service. Okay, and then what you will do, restart the service. Okay, so if possible you have to ask your admin to restart our service. Okay, restart the service, so it may solve your problem. Okay, it may solve your problem. Then check your IP address. Once problem is solved, then check okay IP address at client. Okay, so do you receive a proper IP address or not? If you receive, then problem solved. If you not received, then what to do? Okay, I'm going to repeat. Okay, so we have to check the connection. First, you have to check the connection. So connections are good or not. So make sure the connections are good. Next, DHCP server is there or not. First of all, that is on condition, right? So it is there. And check the service, whether service is running or not. Otherwise, restart the service. You can restart the service. Okay, it restart the services. Okay, like that. Second, if you restart the service, automatically this pool of IP address also will get restarted, right? Any unused connection is there automatically, so that become free and we will get the IP address possible. Still not getting, that is another point, but point is, if restart the services, any unused, for example 50 to 50 completed, really 50 pieces are there. If it is not there, then definitely restart the service will help you. Okay, so make sure that, so what available, how many IP addresses are there, so once you restart now, automatically the list will be create again. So that is the thing. Okay, so this is the part. Okay, so we solve the problem. So DHCP service is good, pool is good, connections are good, everything is good. Okay, now you should get a proper IP address. You should get a proper IP address, right? So that is the thing. Now what happened? You didn't get a IP address. You still okay. You still have has okay. Still the PC, the client PC, right? So the client PC still has a apipa address. Then what to do? So I want to tell one point only, because of that one I'm telling this one story. But these are all entirely important because of not only for organization, for your personal purpose also this is very useful. Okay, so go to CMD, go to CMD, in a CMD you have to type two commands, ipconfig /release, ipconfig space /release. Okay, ipconfig space /release. After that one, ipconfig space /renew. These two commands you should run. Release means it release the IP address, means it remove the existing IP address, and renew means again it start the DORA process, because the previously the apipa address what is in your PC, it is stick it. Okay, it is stick into your PC. Okay, so it is not changing. It is not changing. The IP address, previous IP address, the apipa address is stick into your PC. It is not releasing. Okay, so if you release manually, so it will remove from your network. Now you should do renew means try to get new IP address. You are forcing your adapter get new IP address, get a new IP address, that is ipconfig renew. Understand? Okay, so this is the troubleshooting of apipa. Plus one more I want to tell here. Mm, I don't know how much you understand. Just try. Okay. So I'm a client. I'm in one network. Okay. So I went to my office. I'm in my home, and in my home I got some IP address. For example, I got 192.168.2.1. This is my network, right? So this 2.0. So maybe one thing, one two, something IP address. I got it. I'm in a home. I went to my office. I went to office. In office, that environment, I'm using different IP address or same IP network, whatever it is. There I am using, for example, 1.0 network, like a 1.0 network. Okay, so I should get according to this one, right? Not according to this one. So when I change the network, my IP network also should be changed, right? According to the that current network, my IP address has to change. Sometimes it won't change. Sometimes it won't change. What I said, when PC change, okay, PC move to a new network. Okay, so PC move to a new network. Okay, then IP address of PC should change, right? Change, right? Sometimes it won't change. It won't change. Then what you do? You feel like your network is not working, right? So for example, I'll give you best example. Instead of moving part, based on my statement only I told, right? In our office, in our Pune office, we have two networks. Okay, we have two networks. Two routers are there actually. Two different company routers, and as well as two different networks. So see here. One is Airtel. Airtel broadband is there. Another one is Vodafone, means U broadband. Okay, two different routers. Sometimes U broadband won't work. Sometimes Airtel don't work. Okay, that's why we take two, because the metro is going on. The metro, because of metro, U broadband getting problem, and Airtel anyway it is having a problem there. Okay, so what happened? U broadband giving some kind of IP address to everyone. So I will take the cable. I connect it to a switch. Through switch, I am connecting, right? So I connect a cable from U broadband Wi-Fi adapter. So this is the Wi-Fi of U. Wi-Fi router. This is a Wi-Fi router. I connected to my network and I distribute the IP address anyway. Then I'm accessing the internet. Working good. But after 2 days, what happened? Suddenly, U broadband is not working. Then what I do? So I remove this cable. Then I connect the cable from here. What I done? I change my Wi-Fi router. Okay. I didn't change any computers here. I changed my router. That's it. Now what happened? These PCs are got IP address from here, right? First, initially they got IP address from this Wi-Fi router. Understand? They got IP from this Wi-Fi router. Now they should get IP from this one. Okay, they should get IP from this one. What happened? This IP in this PC is not updating. They are having a old one only. Okay, they are getting a old one only. This is actually some 0.0 type 192.168. 0.100 starting with 100. Their IP address is starting with 0.100. This is starting with 1.1 only. 1.2 or 1.2 something it starts. Not 1.1. They start with 1.2 only. Okay. What happened? This one network. This is zero network. So initially it is a 0.105. Okay. 0.120. This is the IP address for these PCs initially. Whenever this router this is not working, I change my Wi-Fi network. I change it. I change my router connection to switch. This is a desktops, not laptops. Okay, this is a desktops. So when I connected to this router connection, I should get this kind of IP address, but I didn't get it. I got a old one only. Understand? Still I have a old IP address. I change my network, but I am getting old IP address only, not new IP address. Then what to do? What to do? Okay. So when I change my network, when I change, so I put a when I change my network. Okay. Okay. I have I still have how to put English. I have to learn English first. Okay. I still have old IP address. Okay, it's not updated. So they both are same. Both are same. Just the way the question changes, right? So what is the answer for this one? What is the troubleshooting? Simple. ipconfig slash release, because you have old IP. Release the old IP. Then ipconfig renew CMD. So in apipa solution, first if you got apipa, we should know why you got apipa and troubleshoot regarding that one. Then finally come to your client and then put a ipconfig release and ipconfig renew. If you got ipipa, then you have to check your connections, Dhcp server, Dhcp service, pool of IP addresses, and troubleshoot that one. Do according to the situation and make it work. And still your PC is not working. PC not getting new IP address. Your PC is not getting IP address. Still it is showing IP address only. Then ipconfig release, ipconfig renew. Next, if you are change your network, you are in a one network and you change your different network. Okay, then still you got a same IP. Your PC is there. You are connected to a PC to one router. You got some IP address, and your router is changed. You should get different IP address. For example, you have a two DHCP servers. Initially, one DHCP server giving IP address to you. Now it is disconnected, and another DHCP server is connected, and you should get a different IP address. But if you are not getting updated, then what to do? ipconfig release, ipconfig renew only, ipconfig release, ipconfig renew only. So this is it. This is about your IP, DHCP and network troubleshooting. In a network troubleshooting, these are important commands.